So there's a guy named Hans Niemann.
Yep.
And he beat Magnus Carlsen recently.
Yeah.
Has it been already? Was it August?
September 4th.
Oh, was September? So he beat him twice, right? Recently. Once is the allegations by the internet that Hans Niemann cheated. And then the second time, Magnus played a few moves and forfeited and resigned.
There's three.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Can we go through the stocks?
Yes. So they play a live esports event in Miami Beach.
Yes,
Eden Rock.
That's where I actually interviewed Magnus. Yeah,
that's where that was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
by weird circumstance, I found myself in Miami, unrelated to the chess event, and it was a very dramatic event for me for various reasons. One of which the camera stopped working halfway through the conversation.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I also, side note, I really respect how you write comments, pin them at the top. You add timestamps. You're like very true professional. I am the complete opposite on YouTube when I'm off the camera. So I dig in the mud.
What does that mean? Dig in the mud?
From when I started on YouTube in 2020, in June, like May, June 2020, I had no subscribers. So I got to 1 million in a year. I had a lot of people analyzing my every move, all of my small flaws, and I love getting hate comments because
you pin. Is it the comment of shame or something?
That's what it's been named over the years by folks. I never called it that, but it's pin of shame. And
pin of shame, yes.
It's been tough because now people pretend to write hate comments just to get attention. So like anything, the public ruined the good thing. But it started that way. It started with people just shredding me to bits, calling me spin-offs of this and that. And I think I'm a human more than I'm a creator, an influencer, an attention seeker. Like, I'm just a person. So to me, even at the size of 1.6 million subscribers now, September 2022, I don't understand that I've gotten big and that I shouldn't do this stuff and that I should be beyond it, or I shouldn't be checking my social media as much as I do and interacting one-on-one. I'm still very much a human being, and my guilty pleasure, my way of killing time if I'm not laying on the couch and playing some chess blitz games off stream, is I just interact with people who say nice things and who say horrible things. Mm-hmm. And I really like to get into the head of the people who say the terrible things. And sometimes you can, sometimes they are truly trolls, but sometimes people they just really hate you. So
what's a successful interaction with the person that's trolling you? What's like at the end of that hero journey that you were partaking in? What's the top of the mountain look like? Is the troll conquered and broken mentally?
Not mentally. I don't want to defeat. I honestly, sometimes somebody writes a very long comment, I'll respond with a question mark.
Yeah. Oh, so you see each other as like a brother and sister. You're going to travel together on this journey of deep meaning, like introspection of what does this mean?
Yeah, I've had people write, I can't quote now, but something about my persona, my behavior, this and that. And I just like respond to them and I say, hey, it sounds crazy that a large creator might do something like this, but this kind of goes back to you speak to folks on a very respectful way. If you make a mistake, you completely own up to it. So I have sometimes these one-on-one interactions where I say, I think you're reading too much into this. I think you don't understand maybe some of my humor or sarcasm as such. So you form this opinion that I'm this kind of a person, this and that. And now you're sort of, anything I do, you're trying to attach to that reasoning. And here you are writing this lengthy essay of why nobody should watch my content. And sometimes people go, you know what? I think you have a point. Maybe I should relax a little bit. I said,
I would love to sort of interview and understand the lives of the folks that post that kind of stuff. I mean, they're human beings. They have interesting journeys also. Yeah. I think they often don't realize their comment will be read by anybody, especially you.
Maybe.
They think like, and they also don't realize you're a human being. I feel like
that's...
Yeah. And it's so interesting to watch it. Like some guy, because I posted on Twitter for like a minute that I'm talking to you and asking for questions. I deleted that tweet because
Yeah, not
like
because you didn't like me.
95%
Yeah.
of the people were talk about the cheating. All right, I got it. Thank you. This is not going to be helpful at
I know.
all. So I was like, all right. But in that time, like there's one comment, which it's hilarious to me that you found that one comment. The one comment says like, this seems like a waste of time or something, like why
Lame
talk
guest.
lame
Lame
guest.
guest. Lame guest.
And then used like responded something like with a question mark. I
Yeah,
forget what it
I
was.
wrote, why am I
Oh,
a lame guest?
why
And
am
I
I?
made a sad
Let's
face.
talk about this.
Yeah, I was like, why am I a lame guest? And he responded. He responded even after you deleted the
Yeah, what did he
tweet.
say?
He said he doesn't know what value I would bring because I just make videos about chess games.
Yeah.
And that's true. You've had some absolutely brilliant people on.
Uh-huh.
But I also looked at this gentleman's profile, and he was one of the folks that put things about his family and God and his politics in his Twitter bio. And I started thinking maybe I said something in some video and I made a joke about religion or something, just some offhand 5-second thing somewhere that someone turns me into just an absolute outcast in their household. They can no longer watch me. And that has happened.
Yeah.
That has happened. I'll record a 30-minute video and I'll make a joke about something and some phrasing, and that's it. I've lost a viewer forever, and they will let me know. They will write me an email, and I just don't think people should be that serious.
Yeah, there's some of that because I've seen people say that sometimes about me, but I see it more with others. They'll say, I used to be like Joe Rogan gets this.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge fan of Joe Rogan until he said this.
Mhm.
Right? It's like one. First, I do wonder if you were ever really a big fan. That's one question mark I have. But the other is like, I think when you should be more lenient with each other in
Right.
terms of how much stupid shit we say.
Yeah.
And if you actually, I wish people were able to sort of introspect on their own, on the stupid shit they say themselves, like to have a little bit of empathy. Like, I wish there was a way to read all the emails you've ever written and just to see, or maybe do a search engine for all the stupid shit you've said in emails in the past and like summarize it and to reveal it to yourself that like you have bad days, you have good days, you have emotional days, you have stoic days, sometimes you have like, you take very different political views than you do on other days. And it's like, it's all over the place. And if you're a creator, if you're putting stuff out all the time, you're gonna have those, and you're still a full like complex bag of emotions and thoughts and ideas and contradictions and all of that. Like, you shouldn't judge a person by a single statement, and even when you do, you should try to infer the best possible interpretation of that statement. I feel like that's just a healthier way to interact with the world and with other humans. It's like, I wonder what's the best possible interpretation of the thing they just tweeted or they said. Like, what? Let's imagine that the person saying those words is actually a really good human being. And what did they mean when they said that thing about anal beads? Right?
So good for so long.
Yeah, right. Or whatever it is. Like, they didn't mean to be offensive to the sexuality of a certain group. They're talking shit about anal beads. Like, they're not, like, sometimes it's humor. Sometimes it's actually genuinely embodying like a political viewpoint and like walking with it, thinking through it for a few days. Like taking it seriously, empathizing not just for a brief moment, but for a time, like walking with an idea and allowing yourself to express it, like playing devil's advocate. I do that all the time.
With yourself or
with myself? Yeah. In conversation, I do too. And I find I have to say, I'm playing devil's advocate. Like, you have to be very explicit, but with myself, I'll just do it in my head. Like, I have different voices, like, obviously I've been getting so much information, so many thoughts in all the complexities of the war in Ukraine, for example, and all the different voices within Ukraine. I just interviewed hundreds of people, and they have very different perspectives in nuanced ways about the war. Some are full of hate, some are full of love, like hate for the other, love for their own country, love for family and tradition, all of it. It's a beautiful mix. And I have to like carry those ideas in my head and empathize with them deeply. And then I have to listen to people that live elsewhere, that live in India, that have a very different perspective. There's a lot of people in India that have a very different perspective than the people in Ukraine. And so I don't know. And some of that will bleed out into the thoughts I express publicly. And like when people judge you harshly for it first of all, me as a human being is psychologically difficult, but also it makes me less willing to be fragile. I still try to be strong enough to be fragile in front of the camera, just say things that are on my mind, even if I know it's going to create people that are going to be like ruthlessly negative towards me. So I try to wear my heart on my sleeve and still try to be fragile, but it's harder. You're going to pay a psychological cost. Like I'm, in some sense, I try to be tough, but like I could be a softie in like certain like attacks can get to me. So I'm surprised that they don't get. I mean, does some negativity get to you, or is this the way you deal with it by responding? Like that guy saying, like, what value does talking to Levy add to the world?
Yeah. No, but that was so good. I was thinking at various moments, you went to jump in, and I was kind of letting you speak. One of the things I wanted to mention was it's significantly simpler to talk about chess than it is to talk about some of the things you talk about, and you have a big responsibility because you have to absorb information like a sponge, but you also then need to present it in a way where you potentially have an opinion while trying to be fair to everybody. And you're talking about things that will literally never please everybody. Just literally, so you're going to talk about some issues that are going to get out there into people are going to watch it, the eyes, right, the ears of millions of people. And not everybody is going to be satisfied. And these are issues where people are going to be much more likely to speak up in all sorts of ways, like tremendous support or tremendous hatred, vitriol, and God knows what else. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm blown away to even be sitting here, frankly, because up until a few months ago, you weren't talking to, I'm not saying you weren't talking to, but you hadn't spoken to chess players. You were speaking to people who were doing much more substantial things in the world.
I appreciate the humility there.
No,
but chess to me is an incredible, is a beautiful game. But I think the reason comments hurt is not. I mean, they hurt no matter what. To me, like
not to me, because I'm in a simpler space. That's what you have to understand. Even
if it's chess-based criticism, it doesn't hit as hard.
No, if you had a podcast about anal beads, no, I'm just. If you had a podcast,
I am launching this.
If you had a podcast,
I'm launching a new podcast.
Photography, you gotta realize, like, it wouldn't be the same way. You talk about potentially existential things. You talk about cyber, things in cybersecurity or AI, or people who are massive heads of companies that are just inherently going to be a bit more controversial. So that I can't imagine being in your shoes, because you have so many complex emotions about situations where you may not necessarily agree with everything that someone has said publicly, but you still invite them for a conversation because they're a human being. It's totally different, Lex. I
don't know. Not the way I experience it. To me, I think what hurts is it's not even on my, because I'm super self-critical, usually way more than the internet can be. It's that like human beings can be cruel to each other. So like the reason it hurts for some reason is like this, almost like this disappointment in people. They don't give each other a chance. So in that sense, the negativity doesn't have to be about Ukraine or geopolitics. It could be about the silliest of things.
I see.
And like, to me, it's like, why be mean to each other? In a context where the mean doesn't, like, it's out of place. Because, for example, there is like a gaming culture where they just talk shit to each other nonstop. I think it's more acceptable there. It seems to fit. It seems to be funnier there. When streamers talk shit to each other. I've been listening to several streamers recently, and it's like it somehow works a little better, even if they're just like cruel to each other.
Yeah.
It makes more sense. But I think when people are genuinely trying to educate or to help and so on, and you still get the shitty comments, I don't know. It makes me sad.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It doesn't make me. It doesn't make me sad. I think part of that is also the way I was brought up. So I skipped kindergarten, so I was always the smallest kid, and
You were picked on?
I was picked on, and then I did picking. So
Nice.
I had kind of both in my life. I kind of know I went home from summer camp crying, and I also made a kid cry once
Nice.
in 4th grade.
Nice.
So I had the balance, and
Physical or mental abuse, or both?
verbal.
Verbal.
No, I didn't beat anybody up. I was tiny. I think the kid in the younger grade was bigger than I was.
And you still broke him.
Because I was so I had to use my
mental warfare.
I had to use my words. I had to be. And growing up, my parents split when I was super young, and I played chess. So all things that make you super self-trustworthy, like you believe your first instinct. You don't listen to what other people tell you. And if people give you advice, say, okay, I'm going to think about that. I'm not going to go and do that. I wasn't impressionable. You couldn't convince me to do something. That's stuck to this day. My wife has had to deconstruct some of my stubbornness I didn't even realize was incredible stubbornness. It's just something that you brought up with. So to me, that stuff doesn't bother me. And it's
so the voices of others don't shake you quite. They can't mentally shake your like psychological stability.
No, they haven't. I think when it got probably at its worst point was in combination with being unable to perform well in over the board play, but that was also self-driven. I wasn't performing poorly because I was getting comments, but because I was performing poorly, the comments got to me more. The cycle was sort of in the opposite direction, and that was probably the most frustrating out. People have said some vile things to me. You know about my whole Indonesia thing?
Ooh, this is good. This is going to give the anarchist and Lee Chess some fuel. Let's go there. What's the Indonesia thing?
Yeah,
the way you said it. Okay, maybe we don't want to talk about it.
No,
but let's talk.
No,
about
it's totally fine.
Who did you kill?
I was going to say I wish, but I'm not even sure I can make a joke like that. Yes. So the Indonesia thing was I was streaming chess on chess.com, I might add. And I got booted up a 10-minute game. Just a random account from Indonesia. That was the flag. Now, mind you, on these websites, you can pick your flag. It can be from wherever. It's not geo-tracing. You can change it. I was like, okay, account from Indonesia. And as always, I looked at the account because it was an untitled, high-rated account. And I looked through the games. Win rate was suspiciously high. Average accuracy was suspiciously high. I was like, okay, I think this is a cheater. I said it out loud. It's not the first time I've played cheaters on stream. And I said, okay, I'm still going to play. Let's see what happens. The game was not crazy suspicious, but definitely suspicious. A few critical moments where I just clearly thought I had a good position, and then the person or the bot played some move that just killed my hopes, and I lost. I was like, okay, I lost. And I wrote to the chess.com fair play team, like behind the scenes. I wasn't even saying anything publicly on stream, and the guy got banned. It was a cheater. So that night, right before I'm going to sleep, because Indonesia's 12 hours ahead of New York, I go on my Twitter. What the hell is going on? I see hundreds of responses to my recent tweets. Levy, you got to check Facebook, man. You got to check Facebook. Like, so here's a link. So allegedly, that account belonged to an older gentleman, and his son made a Facebook post that said, my dad played a big streamer in chess, Gotham Chess, and Gotham got mad he lost to my dad, so his community mass reported my dad, and he was banned for cheating. Oh, it went viral.
Oh no.
Did you know that Indonesia has the 4th largest population in the world? I didn't know. I learned it the hard way.
Interesting.
Tens of thousands of DMs every second.
Wow.
Instagram DMs, because I had my DMs open. I was never afraid of that stuff. My YouTube videos went from 99% upvote, downvote to 50.
Oh wow.
They swarmed my
So
comments.
all negative. Oh,
all play him again. I mean, I don't know how much swearing there is on this podcast, but I mean, it was just all sorts of
all the fucking swearing you want.
They
just everything. Ruthless, the vicious.
They were going to kill me. They were going to rape my family. They were contacting people I followed on Instagram. They were contacting them and telling them crazy things. I'm not joking, it was tens of thousands of people every minute. It was unbelievable. And I didn't know what to do because the guy cheated. I was in the right.
Yeah.
People.
Well, how certain were you that he cheated?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I'm okay. I don't know if you can say 100%,
but so chess.com also had a suspicion. Because they have good detection algorithms.
Yes. Kind of Danny Wrench would be able to. I legitimately know nothing about the behind the scenes because it's only kind of tech people. But one thing I did not realize was that this account, whether it was the son playing or the father playing, we will not know. We don't know who played. It could have been the son. It could have been the dad covering for him, whatever. But at some point, that account won 27 games in a row at 95% accuracy. I mean, even Magnus can't do that. Even, this took a month. This story took 1 month from start to finish. First, I had to work with a media company to geo-block my content in Indonesia on YouTube. So Indonesians could not see my channel.
Oh, so you didn't want to lean into it. Go full Donald Trump.
No.
Let's because you're in the right. You feel like you're in the right. You, as far as you know, you're in the right.
Yeah, and I hated watching all my work burn to the ground.
You felt it was being.
Yeah, and one thing I'm learning about myself is I'm not a good crisis actor. I need someone to slap me so I don't do something emotional in the moment when crisis is ongoing.
What would be the emotional act that's not productive there?
Partnering with an MCN that makes you give away a bunch of your revenue, and then when you break with them, I wasn't monetized for a week. It was a very big decision to plug in. I think they're called MCNs, but
what are they? Sorry, I don't. What are
MCNs? They're there's specialized agencies that work behind the scenes with YouTube.
Yeah.
That if you connect your account, they say they can give you certain ad benefits. They can geo-block your content. Which you can't do normally. They have certain perks that only YouTube allows behind the scenes. You pay them 10% of your monthly ad revenue, but they claim to do a handful of things for you. I just needed them to geo-block my content. I didn't care how much money I was going to give away per month. But
so why geo-block it? You just didn't like the downvoting.
Yeah, I didn't want.
You wanted positivity. More like you're being educational. They're you do a bit of shit talking, but it's more fun and easygoing. You didn't want this kind of viciousness.
Yeah, my comment section was just being completely flooded. They were destroying my channel. And to be honest, maybe all of the views and the downvotes would have actually been beneficial. Maybe it meant my videos would have actually started getting recommended to more people.
Yeah.
But I'm a person. This all goes back to the same thing.
Oh, so this got to you.
Yeah, this was I was just watching it and I'm like, this is not fair. This is, I don't know what to do. So I'm going to stop this as much as I can. They still got through. They have VPN. And they were like, you asshole, you don't think we have VPN in Indonesia? Yeah. It was this whole, thing. This father and son got invited to every major news network. I'm not joking. They got invited to the major podcast. They like to say the Joe Rogan of Indonesia.
Yeah.
Deddy Corbuzier is this mentalist. He's a bald guy, very fun guy. He had them. And that's when the Indonesian Chess Federation stepped in. The thing is, nobody who was harassing me knows anything about chess. They just saw the story. And long story short, they brought in a sponsor. The guy played a strong, one of the strongest chess players in the country, who also happens to be a woman, Irene Sukandar. She's 2,400 international master. She crushed him because his actual playing strength is 1,300, 1,400, something like that. He still got paid. because there was a winning prize fund and a losing prize fund, and we never heard from him again. And that was the whole story. So that was why I had to shut down all of my social media to DMs and DM requests and even notifications. Like, I don't get notifications unless it's someone I follow.
But see, stuff like that doesn't often get resolved in this kind of clear way.
No, it doesn't. Could have been.
So you got lucky there that there's a conclusion to this.
Yeah, somebody got views, somebody got money, and I never got many apologies.
What did you learn from that experience about yourself, about the internet?
I think first and foremost, I learned that every moment you are live or broadcasting can be completely blown out of proportion. You have to be real careful. And I can't actively think about that, unfortunately, even when I'm streaming. I've had other instances where things come back to bite. I've even had these moments live on stream. I feel like I said something too sarcastically to somebody, and I don't know how their day is going. It might ruin their whole day. You know, God knows what. You have these moments of regret where you want your personality to shine through and you want to entertain. They start thinking, at what cost? If I make a joke to a viewer that suddenly the whole chat is laughing at them, what if that puts them in a deep, dark place? And again, it all comes back to this one-on-one thing for me, because I'm a human. I would hate to put another person into that situation. If I would much rather get a drink with somebody than but it's all kind of part of this act, and you want to make jokes. And I also learned I'm a horrible crisis actor, so I have no patience, but I think that's normal in 2022. Everything is immediate. We can barely sit, think, let time go by.
It makes me sad because I think that kind of stuff can destroy good people. That's what makes you sad.
Yeah, well, one of the things we discussed just here before recording, which I've talked about this on stream, I'm very open with this type of stuff, is I think for me, a lot of that comes down to just a lack of control of the narrative. That phrase is kind of messy. It can be used for political stuff, but I hate when I say things and they get completely misconstrued, or they are completely misinterpreted, and I can't imagine being in your shoes, because again, I do chess. You can clip me saying something about a chess game out of context and it's hilarious. You know, it's dumb. It's nothing. It's not an attack on me or something that I said. It's not an attack on, just kind of more similarly to what you were describing. And
you don't say stuff like that, like ridiculous. You don't say ridiculous shit about yourself.
Oh, I
like
do.
That.
I do.
And you don't feel like that could be made. Isn't this the same guy that said X?
Maybe I either haven't said enough of those things, or there's no moments I don't have 3-4 hour open conversations with other humans, and I'm pretty sure if I did, there would be more of that stuff out there. But that's probably what it is. It's just a lack of being able to kind of control what is actually reality, and that is very frustrating. And
you're right. I mean, there is a sense that there's not enough motivation for people to attack you. You're ultimately adding a lot of positive stuff to the world. And when you get into more political topics, there's people there who are hurting, who have a lot of anger in their heart, and they want to direct it towards you. So then they need ammunition, and ammunition comes in the way of like clips from the past. So I'm sure that I'm pretty sure you already have clips like that. It's just there's not people that really have anger to direct towards you. Ultimately, you're adding a lot of good stuff to the world. And so, yeah, but it's, man, the viciousness of human beings under the veil of anonymity at scale can be really painful. So I guess that's the curse, the challenge of being a creator on YouTube and so on Twitch.